And the Joint Chiefs Chairman, General Dan Kane, also laying out the years of preparation that went into the bombing of Iran's notorious underground nuclear facility.
Station in the U.S. called the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, DTRA. DTRA does a lot of things for our nation, but DTRA is the world's leading expert on deeply buried underground targets. In 2009, a Defense Threat Reduction Agency officer was brought into a vault at an undisclosed location and briefed on something going on in Iran. For security purposes, I'm not going to share his name. He was shown some photos and some highly classified intelligence of what looked like a major construction project in the mountains of Iran. He was tasked to study this facility, work with the intelligence community to understand it, and he was soon joined by an additional teammate. For more than 15 years, this officer and his teammate lived and breathed this single target, Fordow, a critical element of Iran's covert nuclear weapons program. He studied the geology. He watched the Iranians dig it out. He watched the construction, the weather, the discard material, the geology, the construction materials, where the materials came from. He looked at the vent shaft, the exhaust shaft, the electrical systems, the environmental control systems, every nook, every crater, every piece of equipment going in and every piece of equipment going out. They literally dreamed about this target at night when they slept. They thought about it driving back and forth to work, and they knew from the very first days what this was for.
He went on to say Operation Midnight Hammer was the culmination of those 15 years of incredible work. The satellite picture showing scorched earth. And Matthew Whiz Buckley is a retired Navy fighter pilot. So good to have you here with us. I want to, in particular, ask you about the specific targets. As Pete Hegseth and Dan Kane talked about this morning, there were these ventilation shafts, and the pilots had to get right over there and drop the bomb at the exact right time in order to destroy them. What do you think of the operation?
Well, Dana, good morning. Thank you for having me. Real quick, my brother Raisin took an unobserved shot at naval aviators and us Top Gun folks by saying the Air Force Weapons School doesn't have beach volleyball. Well, Dana, real quick, that's because we in the Navy are smart enough to put our bases near the ocean or water, and we have beaches. So nice shot, Raisin. But Dana, what an absolutely incredible demonstration of American military might and American intelligence. The DTRA folks having two people essentially knowing exactly how this site was built is absolutely incredible. And that's just on the U.S. side, Dana. Could you imagine Israel and the Mossad and the type of intel they had on this? And it was very cool for Raisin to show how these bombs actually work. They go through the ground, they sense different levels of either concrete or dirt, and then they're designed to explode. So for folks in the media or some people in this nation that are expecting to see some sort of cartoon Bugs Bunny big hole, the damage is mainly underground. So this was just absolutely incredible, and I'm glad my brother Raisin took time to point out all the men and women who took part in this very successful strike.
Can you talk a little bit about what it's like, even though I know Navy versus Air Force, if we could set that aside, because I'm just curious about that prep and the mental capacity, even the physical capacity, to fly that far on a mission that secret and that dangerous and be able to get back and then see that the nation is asking questions like, was it successful? And then there's questions, there was the intel leak on the initial
Correct.
assessment. But overall, I think today what the Pentagon was doing is saying, this is what we know, this is what we have. More might come out in the coming days, but this is what we have so far.
Dana, a famous British general, General Bernard Montgomery, when he got reports of first contact with the enemy, he would go to bed. Why? Because he knew the initial reports were almost always wrong. So it is going to take a couple days, a couple weeks to get some really good BDA, some battle damage assessment. But back to the bomber crews and the folks that flew this mission. Of course, some good inter-service rivalry and ribbing, but my hat is off to these bomber crews. Dana, they actually flew this mission several times, maybe even dozens of times before they got in the jet and actually strapped it on and got airborne. They did this in the simulator building with those fighter escorts, with the F-35s, with the F-22s. This was
Wait, can I interrupt you for
incredible.
a second?
Sure.
I'm the queen of dumb questions. So in the simulator, would you have been in there for 37 hours?
Dana, these bomber crews actually go in the simulator building and fly the entire mission. So, short answer to your long question is yes, they flew this mission, this exact mission. And guess what, Dana? During the simulator, I guarantee you they were shot at. I guarantee you they had an engine failure. They threw the kitchen sink at these pilots before they ever got airborne. Remember, Dana, if we go anywhere in the world and we're outgunned or we're surprised, our training failed. So going anywhere in the world on this type of mission, it should be a little bit of a letdown, because in the simulators and in our training, we had everything thrown at us.
Whiz Buckley, great to have you this morning. Thank you.
Thanks, Dana.
Bill?